Hey guys, welcome to my first ever live stream. I'm so excited to be doing this. There's so many things that I wanted to do for you guys on YouTube, and I just really haven't gotten the opportunity, or I haven't gotten around to it. And I decided to use this live stream as an opportunity to throw it all together into one thing. So, first of all, I have not combed my hair today, but there's a reason for that. I found this product, not sponsored. It's L'Oreal Colorista. And what it is it's hair color that's temporary, and it's designed to go on dark hair. And I was like, that's perfect. And if you watch 7 Deadly Roommates, I used a different type of this on that to do like the red in my character's hair. And I think it's the same concept. That was called Liquid Chalk. This is just semi-permanent color, and I don't really know how it works, but it says for dark brown to light brown hair, lasts 4 to 10 shampoos. So that means you just wash your hair and it comes out. Oh, and it's vegan, so you can eat it. I'm just kidding, don't eat it. Yeah, so we're going to do that today. So, oh wow, that's it. So in the box is the instructions and the gloves, the tube, and this little comb thing. So first of all, I don't normally follow the rules on the manual this clearly, but since I'm demonstrating for you guys, you want to use Vaseline. You want to use it around your hairline. I need a mirror. Because you don't want to dye your skin, you just want to dye your hair. And if the Vaseline is on your skin, then it won't transfer. Because I've dyed my hair before, like in high school I used to dye my hair all the time, and I remember constantly having weird colors on my ears or on the back of my head, and that's not really the intention, and sometimes it can last for a couple days. So yeah, you should really do this. This is also great for someone if you're scared to dye your hair but you kind of want to join in the fun. You can do this. And the main reason that I haven't actually dyed my hair, because every YouTuber seems to just dye their hair crazy colors, and I wish that I could. Now my hands are all moisturized. I am an actor, and I do a lot of different projects, and when you have your headshots, you're supposed to look like that all the time, because if you change your look, you have to change all your headshots, and it's this huge hassle. So being able to temporarily dye my hair is a really great thing. But anyway, okay, so let's open the instructions. And always use gloves, because same concept, it's going to get on your skin. Wow, I've never had one that comes with so many gloves. Usually you just get one pair. Okay, so it's my first time using gloves. Excuse me. Alright, I think I'm just going to use one glove. I don't think I need both hands to be covered. So, wow, it's really, just so you know, this color is teal, and you don't mix it with anything, you go straight into your hair. And I don't know if I'm going to do my whole head, because, you know, it's kind of daunting, but we're going to just do maybe like, I don't know, just a good chunk of the top of my head. So let's just go for it. Let's just start. So I can already see that the color is getting in there, but we'll see how that ends up going. Or we can do this the Kai way and just get it all in there. Like I said, I don't really follow directions, but that's mainly because I've dyed my hair so many times in the course of my life that I just don't care anymore. I got it, I know what I'm doing, my hair has never fallen out from anything. Actually, that's not true. One time I lost a chunk of hair and had to shave off my whole head. Pro tip, do not bleach hair that has chemicals already in it, because it will fall out. Whoops. See there? Thanks to the Vaseline, don't have to worry about that so much. But just for fun, I'm going to wipe it off. So I'm just trying to really saturate my hair. And whoa, that is really blue. I'm kind of feeling this is going to come out blue instead of teal. I mean, the dye is pretty blue. Also, I didn't learn this until just before starting the live stream. This takes 30 minutes to set in your hair, so I will spend half of the live stream with blue in my hair like this. So yeah, okay. I wonder if this is okay. I'm just gonna put a little bit more, and then we're gonna start on the rest of the activities that I have planned for this video. Yeah. You guys have no idea how obsessed I am about color. The reason that I got teal, by the way, is because I'm planning a music video and I want a character in it to have green hair. So I wanted to test this because they also sell it in green, but I wanted to see what this looked like first. And kudos to all the people out there who go old school and bleach their hair and do the whole thing, because oh my god, nobody has time for that. Alright, so I'm gonna put that there, and I'm going to wipe off the excess, because even though I've got the Vaseline on there like a smart person, it can still transfer through. So I'm just gonna, oops, looks like it's already kind of stained my skin. Well, YOLO. Okay. Okay, Google. Set a timer for 30 minutes.
Okay, 30 minutes, starting now.
She's so happy. I want to talk a little bit about color, and just hear me out. I know that sounds boring, but when I was I went to art school, and I took a class that we had to take. It was required, and when I went into it, it was color theory, and I went into it like, oh great, here's another BS class that I don't want to take. It ended up being my favorite class in college. I loved it. I actually read the textbook. So just a couple things about color. You hear about pink, and pink is completely misrepresented. So when a guy wears a pink shirt, everybody makes fun of him, right? Like, oh look, he's wearing pink, oh, like whatever. But the funny thing is when a guy is wearing a pink shirt, he's demasculating all the men around him, because pink has been proven to produce estrogen in men and reduce testosterone, so it makes you more sensitive, more like docile, and it can kind of create like an alpha male effect, because unless he's constantly looking down at his shirt, the color's not affecting him. So there's that. And to add to this, there was a football team somewhere in America, and they painted the visitors' locker room like, I think it was like baby pink, like just a light pink, and the other team always lost. For years, they kept losing and losing until the high school was forced to change the locker room back to normal colors, and then they started losing after that. And that's like, what? Like crazy. Another fun fact, since we're working with blue, is there is no food that is naturally blue. Even blueberries are purple. And the reason for this is because blue tends to be poisonous. That's how it occurs in nature. So we have a built-in defense mechanism that when we see something that's blue, our brain says, do not eat, poison, stop. And that's why, like, I don't know if you know, I personally like the blue M&Ms, but that is the least favorite color of M&M. And the reason is because it's blue, and people just don't respond to that color. Fun fact about blue also, in the 70s, there was this diet fad called the blue light diet, where you would take the light bulb out of your refrigerator and you would put in a blue bulb. So what would happen is every time you open your fridge, everything's blue because of the light, and then it suppresses your appetite, because you look at the food, nothing looks appetizing, ugh, everything's blue, ugh, and you close it. The problem was eventually people needed to eat, and they became desensitized to the blue light, so it stopped kind of working. So that's why it was just a fad. But I could go on and on forever about colors, and it's just really interesting how much colors affect you. there's a lot of psychological, physiological, etc. effects, like how a lot of danger and warning signs are yellow and black. Think of bees in nature, yellow and black, or hornets. A lot of snakes are yellow and black. The most poisonous frogs in the world are yellow and black. So again, it kind of is like that natural response to those colors, you know, the same way we respond to green being good and go and okay. Yeah, so that's colors. Anyway, so while this is all setting in my hair, which normally I would never cook while having this in my hair, but we're live streaming right now, so I gotta do that. I am going to be cooking for the first time on my channel, and I know that I have told you guys so many times, like, cooking with Kai, let's do it. I bought a chef hat, I bought an apron, which I can't wear because I have this stuff in my hair. But we're gonna be cooking a super easy recipe today. It's going to be, I guess it would be chicken fajita quesadillas, but it's really just like the quesadilla. So let me get that set up, and yeah. So, don't need this towel quite yet. So normally when you're cooking, keep your hair stuff away from your food stuff because it's probably not the best idea. But using tortillas, going to be doing bell peppers, onions, and as a bonus, I'm going to be teaching you how to make really, really easy and super delicious and healthy guacamole, which is why we've got avocados. We've got various herbs and spices and salt and pepper and all that fun stuff. So normally when I make this, I go to the store and I just get whole chicken breasts, but today the ones that were already pre-chopped were on sale, so I got those instead, which is always good to save time and money. Okay, so we go. We just got some chopped chicken, cilantro. Actually, we'll keep that. All right. So normally I chop the chicken, but it's already chopped, so we're fine with that. So we're just gonna set that aside. Now, I got Tillamook cheese. This is just the one that I like. I think it's really, really good quality. It tends to be really creamy. And this is the Mexican cheese, which you can make your own. Mexican cheese is just pepper jack and Monterey, or you can put cheddar. You can really put whatever you want. I mean, I've seen people do mozzarella in their quesadillas, so that's completely up to you. First thing I'm going to do is get a bowl. And what's cool about getting this red onion is we get to use it for both recipes, because you can use it for the guacamole and you can use it for the quesadilla. You can do white onions if you prefer. I just find that red onions are more flavorful and sweeter and kind of complement what we're doing a little better. So first thing to do when you cut an onion is cut off the ends, because now it's flat and you can just set it down. And then cut it in half. I'm only doing this because a lot of people don't know how to cut an onion, and some people get discouraged from cooking because they try to cut an onion and they're like, I can't even cut an onion. Why should I even bother cooking? And I just have to say, one of the reasons I want to do cooking videos is because so many people don't know how to cook. It's such a necessary skill in life, and it saves you so much money. And the best part is, when you cook for yourself, you can make the food however you want. Like when you go to a restaurant and they didn't put enough sauce, or they didn't do this, or you don't worry about that. When you're cooking it, you do it however you want. All right. So this is the onions that are going to go into the quesadilla, so you're just going to chop it into slices. Very easy, very simple, no big deal. And Another reason I'm choosing this meal is because this is a timed live stream. So, you know, this is a meal that you can whip together very, very quickly. If you've had a long day, you're tired. Takes really not that long, you know. I find cooking relaxing because I can chop and I can do all this stuff while I'm watching music videos or just listening to music or watching a TV show or a movie in the background, and you know, or talking with your bae or your friend or your roommate. All right. So just gonna separate my onion pieces and toss them into the bowl. Another reason I like red onions is because they don't burn your eyes as much as white onions do, which has really only happened to me a couple times. There's a picture that I remember on like my MySpace of like one of the first times I cut onions in college, and man, that burned. But yeah, I dig red onions. Okay. And to save on doing dishes, we're also going to be reusing this bowl. Well, actually, yeah, we could just rinse it out. It's easy. To add to saving time, this recipe, I'm doing all the spices just together on my own, but you can buy like those little packs of like taco mix or fajita seasoning or whatever if you don't feel like wasting that time. Anyway, okay, so you've got your onions in here. Our chicken will go last. Pre-measuring isn't something I like to do. Again, when you cook for yourself, you can do it however you want. So first ingredient, chili powder, and I'm just going to add, I'm going to add a good amount because I like chili powder, and for this recipe, it calls for it. You know, you eyeball it. You know how much you want. The only thing is when it comes to salt, that's where you want to be careful because you can always add salt, but once you put too much, you're done. So I'm going to add some cumin. Cumin is probably my favorite spice, except when it doesn't want to come out of this thing. Alright, so that's probably a good amount of cumin. A lot of people have issues with garlic powder. I like it. It adds a lot of flavor, and sometimes, you know, chopping garlic is a pain in the butt. So, oops. Okay, that was a little too much garlic powder, but that's okay. We're gonna add a whole bunch of other stuff. So a little bit of paprika gives it that nice, you know, that nice spice, and a little bit of cayenne pepper for the same reason. Now, if you don't own a pepper mill, I gotta tell you, these things are awesome. So just grinding. I like to go crazy with pepper because it can really, really bring out a lot of flavor. So I think that's probably good. And now salt is where you want to be careful. So what I usually do is I add it to my hand. And then just sprinkle it on. I guess I don't know how to explain eyeballing salt because I've just been cooking with it so long that I just know. Alright, that's a good amount. So here, I don't know if you guys can see, my hands are clean, but I've got all the herbs and spices mixed together. I'm not going to put them in yet, I'm just going to set them aside because that's going to go in last, and then we want to cut our bell pepper. You can use any color bell pepper you want, or you can even use multiple colors. I just like yellow because they're the sweetest, and they tend to be a little cheaper. I'm not really sure why. And if you've never cut a bell pepper, the way I do it, I cut off the top, and then here you can see there's like these ligament things that hold the center together, and I just cut those down, and then just comes off, and now you've just got a bell pepper cup. So if you ever want to make like stuffed bell peppers, there you go. You just put your filling in there and bake them. Easy. That's another thing you can do. But we're not doing that today. Okay, so just gonna cut these into strips, and there's not a set rule. You can cut them into cubes, you can cut them into whatever you want. You can cut them into small ones or big ones. It's just keep in mind that it's for a quesadilla, so it's going to, I found that the longer pieces don't work very well. And I know that's traditionally how it's served, but and I don't know if you guys know this about me, but the reason that I know cooking is actually because of my dad. He was a chef in New York, and he studied at some prestigious cooking school that I don't remember. Maybe it was Cordon Bleu, if that's a school, I don't know. But growing up, he would always just cook these amazing meals from scratch, and it was just really, really good. So growing up, I got to taste a lot of foods that I wouldn't have otherwise. I got to really expand my palate. But what I didn't realize is just from watching my dad cook, I was learning how to cook myself, learning how to cook food. You know what I mean? And it wasn't until I left home and went to college and all that I realized, I was like, whoa, I know how to cook. How did this happen? And I was like, I have secret powers, but it took me a while, and I was like, oh, I learned through observation. So for all of you people out there who are always in the kitchen with your mom or dad, you know, pay attention to how they cook. You might learn a thing without realizing it. Alright. And typically, this can feed maybe 3 people, 4 people. It just depends, like I said, this is just an example, so I only got 1 bell pepper, but you know, that whole pack of chicken and 2 bell peppers and a whole onion and a pack of tortillas, you've got enough for a family meal. And it's relatively cheap. It's definitely cheaper than ordering at a Mexican restaurant. Okay, and I think we're pretty much done with these. So, bell peppers we're not actually going to throw in, we're going to save them because bell peppers, they're kind of weird when they cook because they get hard on the outside and soft on the inside, but if you leave them for just too long, they become really mushy. At least in my experience, I don't know if that's normal. And last but not least, cilantro, which I know there's cilantro haters out there like, oh god, it's so gross. If you don't like it, don't put it in. Again, when you cook at home, you cook your own food, you can add or leave out whatever you want because it's your meal. If anyone's played Metal Gear Solid, there's a great quote from Naomi in Metal Gear Solid 4, and she says, "The secret to great cooking is to keep who's going to eat it in mind." And this is extremely true. Because if I'm cooking a meal for someone, I want to know what they like. I want to know what they don't like. Because if you make something they don't like or make it in a way they don't like, they're not going to like your cooking and they're going to think you're a bad cook. But it's not the case. It's just, you know what I mean. Alright, so I'm mixing in the cilantro with the onions. And again, feel free to skip the cilantro. So now we're finally going to get to the chicken. Alright, so again, this is pre-cut. Make sure when you're handling any sort of raw meat, especially chicken, that you wash your hands constantly. That's something that I think a lot of people don't think about or know, but it's a really big food safety problem because, okay, I'm touching this chicken right now. If I touch the knife immediately after touching this chicken, now the knife is contaminated, possibly with salmonella or whatever, and you really, really don't want that. So just putting that out there. Handling raw meat is always its own thing. You know, doing this, okay, handling raw meat, wash my hands. So here, mixing it all together, and because I'm not done yet, I'm not going to wash my hands, but I am going to add the spices. So I'm going to make sure that all of those are really, really well mixed together, because this is your seasoning. This is all of the flavor. And the best part is there's no sugar. Well, at this moment it's low fat. It's not so much when you add the cheese, but for a cheat meal, you could be doing way worse. Because I want a lot of flavor, I'm gonna add the rest of the seasoning and probably a couple more pieces of chicken. And I do have leftover chicken, but that's okay because you can freeze it. You can save it for later. And that's all. Okay. So again, washing your hands is very, very important when you're handling raw meat. Dish soap is really good. For that, it gets rid of not only any contaminants, but it gets rid of any oils on your skin. All right, so this is ready to go, but I want to make the guacamole first. So I am actually going to use a different bowl. And that can be as simple as just a regular eating bowl. Okay. So I use this knife to open the chicken, so I'm going to get a different knife because, again, cross-contamination is an issue. In fact, yeah, I'm just going to get a different cutting board. All right, let's just put these over here. All right, so got your avocados. Generally, 2 is enough for a good helping, but depends on you how much you're going to eat or how much you're going to do with it, because aside from being able to dip the quesadilla in it, you can also use it for like chips and dip, which is great if you have someone waiting for you to finish cooking. You can just give them that, keep them happy. All right. A lot of people have a problem with avocado. They think it's got a lot of calories, it's got a lot of fat, it can't be healthy. This is very, very untrue. Ew, it's not the best avocado. Let's try avocado number 2. Your body needs fats. Your body needs good fats. There's a difference. And avocado is not only filled with good fats, it has a lot of fiber, it has a lot of nutrients, it has things that your body needs. So just know that, because I've seen people who are like, ew, avocado's got so much fat in it, I'm just going to have celery. Celery is just the vegetable form of water. Anyway. Alright, so to make your avocado, you're going to use the rest of your onion, you're going to have avocado, and you're going to need salt, and you're going to need lime, and optionally cilantro. That's all you need. Don't buy those little packets at the supermarket that are like, make guacamole with this, because those are filled with sodium. If you don't believe me, look at the packet and see what's in it. It's not good for you. And you want to use a fork. I found that a fork is really, really great for squishing and blending. I just realized I probably look ridiculous right now because I'm cooking and I have this stuff in my hair, but welcome to my YouTube channel for all of those just tuning in. All right, so we're gonna put all of that in there. Okay, and to get the pit out, usually I just poke it with a knife and pull it out. That's all you gotta do. So this isn't the best avocado, but that's okay, we can still salvage it. You just don't wanna use the brown part. It's not gonna kill you if you do, it's not gonna do anything, it's gonna be a little mushy. Maybe you like that, I don't know, but I don't. Okay. So, did that, we got our avocado in there. We're gonna toss all of this refuse Now, before we chopped our onion into slices, now we're going to chop it into really small cubes. And just like the cilantro, if you don't like onion, you can leave this out, but I personally think it adds a lot of flavor and texture and other stuff. Alright. And you don't want to add too much onion because then it's really overpowering and it can make your guacamole kind of gross. So we're just going to chop. Same as before, chop it into slices and then lay the slices down and then chop it into cubes. You guys can do it. It's not rocket science. Alright. So, got my onions. Put them in there. And then just a little bit of cilantro. And you want to chop it up finely, but not too finely. You know, people who like cilantro, it's nice to find a little cilantro leaf in the dip that you just got. And this is, again, great for just a healthy snack. If you go to the gym and you have a good workout, avocado is so good for a post-workout. It helps your body, gives it all the lipids and vitamins and all the fun stuff. Alright, so put in that. I'm going to put just a tiny, tiny bit of salt. Ooh, too much. Right. Well, again, that's why we do the pinching thing, because if I had done that over the bowl, all the salt would have gone right in. That's why I do it in my hand. So just got a pinch and a half. That should be fine. And then, the most important thing, in my opinion, is the lime. This just makes the flavor pop. It brings out the flavor of the onion, brings out the flavor of the cilantro, definitely brings out the flavor of the avocado. For this, I'm just going to use half a lime because if I put both limes, it's probably going to be a little overpowering. Alright, and everything's in here. All we got to do now is just... So you want to smash it with a fork, which is why I recommend using a fork. Other things work too, it's just a fork fits in a bowl better. And you just want to keep going. Is that a lovely sound for everybody out there? And what'll happen is as you crush it, there will just be like chunks of avocado and you just want to find them and you just want to squish them down. Using the tip of the fork generally works pretty well. Now these weren't the best avocados. I tried, the supermarket was not having like good selection when I went this morning, but that's why it's a little discolored. But you know, it's still avocado, it's still good. How good though? Oh my god. I just realized I'm hungry. See, and so like, the reason when you add just a little bit of salt is I can detect this needs a little more salt. So, I can carefully add some more salt. Even a little bit more lime. Just mix that in. Cool. Alright. So we're going to set that aside. And I think we're ready to start cooking. So for these, for a quesadilla or a burrito, I recommend the bigger tortillas because the smaller they are, the kind of harder they work with. Unless you want to do the double tortilla thing, but I prefer the fold in half. Yeah, it's completely up to you. It's just food. Make it however you want. The most difficult part's out of the way. This is just a matter of not burning the tortilla. So first, I'm actually going to preheat my stove. And I'm using like a griddle, but you can use a pot, or I mean a pan if you want. Okay. Now I'm making mine with butter, but you can use olive oil, you can use whatever you want. You just need something because otherwise your tortilla will burn and stick to the pan, and that's not a good time. So while that's preheating, I'm going to get my cheese out of this bag that is right here. And again, another reason I like the Tillamook is because it's in pieces as opposed to like tiny little cheese things. Okay, so we got our tortillas. Now I'm going to add just a little bit of butter. You don't want to go crazy with the butter, but you want, a good amount. It adds a lot of flavor, and contrary to popular belief, it's not as unhealthy as it seems. Butter in the right context won't kill you. Butter all the time will definitely kill you. Okay, so big spatula for this, and pizza cutter for later. Oh, you know what? I totally just skipped a step. Actually, we're not going to preheat this yet. We have to cook the chicken. Oh, that's 30 minutes. This is the chaos of doing a live stream. So, perfect timing though, because we're going to pause from cooking and we're going to see how my hair has turned out, because I am pretty curious myself to find out. So I'm just gonna rinse this out real quick and we'll find out how it went. I don't think I have to shampoo this out. Nope, just rinse it out. All right.
Yeah, we're not allowed to take a shower on live stream, so we're gonna have to settle for the kitchen sink. I'm really nervous to see what happened. I'm thinking that nothing happened, because if it didn't, L'Oreal is definitely not going to sponsor any of my videos in the future. Alright, the water is running clear. And right now we can't see anything because my hair's wet, which anyone who has dyed their hair will know that when it's wet you cannot tell.
So that's why I have a blow dryer in the kitchen. Be able to see what I'm doing. Yeah, so I don't see anything going on. Maybe I didn't put enough. Definitely dyed my skin. This is all skin that's dyed. Oh wait, I'm seeing some green. Oh my god, I think it actually worked. turned into a get ready with me, apparently. I didn't realize my hair takes so long to blow dry. Sorry about that. Okay. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, but I've got some green. Not sure if you guys can see it. It's really, really subtle, but there's like a tint of green. Huh. So I guess if you're going to use this, it works, but you should probably put a lot more on than I did. So now I can finally comb my hair. Oh, my hands are kind of blue. Okay. So for now, just gonna consider that a hair fail. That was underwhelming. So yeah, Garnier liquid chalk works great. This I will have to revisit in a future video. Alright, enough of that. Okay. So now we're going to get back to making our food. Can't believe I forgot to cook the chicken. Hey, it's my first live stream. You definitely want to use a pan because you want everything to kind of sit evenly when you're cooking it. Alright. So yeah, I'm gonna let that preheat. I'm putting it on kind of like medium high heat. And we're gonna add a little bit of oil. I recommend olive oil. You can use whatever you want. You can even use butter, but you want the oil to warm up a little bit. Never add oil to a pan that's already hot. That's when you get the sizzles and the sparks and it starts throwing oil everywhere, it's just temperature reaction. It can actually start a fire, so don't do that. Put the oil as the pan is heating up or before it's heated up. Just a little pro tip for anyone out there. And you'll know your oil is heating up because it starts to behave like water. It just starts running all over the place and you can move it around the pan pretty easily. Okay. So what we're going to do while that's heating up, we're going to throw in the chicken, the onions, everything in there. We're going to let it cook and then we're going to add the bell peppers last because like I said, they're a little temperamental. And once everything's cooked, that's when it goes really fast. You add the cheese to the tortilla, let the cheese melt a little bit, put your chicken on top, fold it over, well, chicken, more cheese, fold it over, let it cook, flip it, you're done. Flip it, whip it, hi. Alright, so I think that's heated enough, and I'm just gonna dump the whole thing in there. That's the sound you want whenever you add anything to a pan. If anything starts hissing or spitting or whatever, your pan is too hot or you waited too long, so you gotta get used to that as well. So you want to make sure that the chicken isn't staying still for too long because what will happen is only one part of the chicken will cook and then the other side is like not cooking. So you want to keep stirring it, you want to keep flipping everything around. You can use a spoon like I'm using, you can use a spatula, whatever works best. Just know that you need a clean spatula to flip the tortillas when they're cooking, so keep one clean.
You have more than one.
So I am actually going to switch to some tongs
Because chicken is just easier to grab and to flip. And as a bonus, your entire house will smell like a Mexican restaurant. Alright, so my oil got absorbed. I'm just going to add a little bit more olive oil. And I'm also going to cover the pan because what you can do is when something's cooking, you cover the pan, all the heat gets trapped in there, so it starts cooking all of it, kind of like a microwave. Totally super prepared for this. Alright. So we're just going to leave that in there for just a little while. Not too long, because then it'll start to burn. Alright. And this doesn't have to be cooked in a pan. That's just the fastest way to do it. You can grill it, you can bake it, you can do whatever you want. You can also do bigger pieces of chicken. I'm going to cover it one more time. So what I can start doing in the meantime is preheating this again, because now we're actually going to use it. And another thing is, so I had added butter to that. Butter will burn if you leave it there for too long, so while you're preheating, don't put the butter until you're ready to use it. I've got a little bit on there, so it's probably going to get a little burned, but that's okay. We can deal with it. And you can also leave these on as long as you want, so if you want it really crispy, leave it there as long as you need to. And you kind of have to just go by eye, because it'll look fine and you flip it over and it'll be black. So you need to kind of pay attention to it. Alright. And for a lot of people who are new to cooking, people get very, very scared to cook chicken, because out of all the meats, that's the worst one that can be, improperly cooked. So if you're nervous, or if you're unsure, there's absolutely no harm in just taking a piece. And what you want to do is you want to try to find the thickest piece that you can, because the thicker it is, that means the longer it has to cook. So here, I've got a thicker piece, just want to cut it open. And it's white all the way through, so it's cooked, it's good, it's ready. So I'm gonna keep these here. I'm gonna lower the heat, and I'm just gonna let it keep going. Now that I know my chicken's cooked, I can finally add the bell peppers. So we're just going to slide those in, and you want to try to get your bell peppers to the bottom of the pan because they need to cook more than the chicken does. So I'm actually going to turn the heat back up just a little bit. I wish you guys could smell. It smells so good in here right now. There's all sorts of spices and stuff going on. Alright, so
So I'm going to just cover it and let that heat up the bell peppers and cook them for just like a minute, maybe. So while that's going on, I can start getting my cheese into these little bowls that they always use in cooking shows. These little bowls are really awesome for weight loss, by the way. It's one of the things that I use a lot. When you get a snack or when you get something that you know you shouldn't be eating too much of, keep it in a bowl this size. You can get these at IKEA for like 50 cents. I got like 12 of them. But if you keep everything in here, you don't have to worry about overeating as long as you don't have more than, I don't know, 2 or 3 of these in a day. Because this can generally contain, depending on what you're eating, about 150 calories. So just another little tip of mine, because a lot of people ask me about my weight loss, which was all done through dieting. And if you want to check out my weight loss, you can look at my Instagram pictures. Everything's there and documented. Right. Trying to figure out how we're doing on time. Alright. Okay. So my bell peppers are the way I want them. They're tender, but they're not mushy. So now we're going to switch over to our, I guess it's a griddle, I'll just call it what it is. Alright, so we're going to turn the heat low on there, get your butter all around, and this is where you kind of have to move quickly because things can burn and cheese is melting, there's a lot going on. Alright, so gonna lay this down. You only want to put cheese on half of the tortilla. So I'm just gonna wait. You want the cheese just to melt a little bit, and then that kind of like will hold on to the chicken when you put it on there. So the cheese is starting to melt. A little bit more. So my cheese is starting to melt a little bit, so I'm going to start adding the chicken. You just want to just grab it and lay it down, and try to keep it flat if you can, because when you flip it over, it's just going to go everywhere. That might happen right now because it's kind of hard to do sometimes. Make sure to get, some onions, some bell peppers, everything that you want on it. Okay. So that's starting to melt into the cheese. Now you're going to add cheese on top. And before it starts melting, you want to close it. So flip it and close it. So as you can see here, it's brown and it's a little crispy. That means on the other side, it is also brown and a little crispy, which means now the side that is down is going to start burning if I don't flip this. The problem is the cheese isn't completely melted yet, but we don't want our quesadilla to burn, so we're just going to flip it. A little bit of cheese gets out, no big deal. It's not going to start a fire or anything. And I like to push down on it to keep it flat, because when you cut it, you want it to be flat. Okay. in all over the place with buttery goodness. And then cut those halves in half. Now you can add whatever you want. You can add rice and beans, you can add whatever. I am going to do some of the guacamole that I made, which is really great for dipping or adding on top of it. And some sour cream. You can also do like fresh salsa, which is equally as easy to make. But I prefer sour cream. I don't recommend sour cream for losing weight. It's probably one of the most fattening things ever. But, you know, you gotta treat yourself sometimes. Add that there. And if you want to garnish it, make it look fancy, unless you absolutely really hate cilantro, you can just add a little leaf of it. And there we go. So now you know how to make a fajita quesadilla. I'm trying to hold this without spilling it, but yeah. This is a great cheat meal. It's really not as healthy as it could be. It mostly consists of chicken and vegetables and avocado. So just know that. Yeah. So there, I have officially cooked something on YouTube for you guys. Finally. I can't wait to eat this. It looks really, really good. Have to make one for my crew and anyone else who happens to stop by. Yeah, so how are we doing on time?
Good.
What are we at?
1 hour.
We're at 1 hour?
57 minutes.
Okay. I was going to play PlayStation VR and I was going to do more stuff, but I think we're gonna stop it here. And depending on your guys' reactions to the live stream, I would love to do this again, do more for you guys. It'd be really, really cool. So if you like this, or if you have any questions or recommendations, leave them in the comments. Thank you guys so much, and yeah, I will see you guys next live stream.